Chinese State Councillor Wang Yang Councillor Wang Yong is facilitating the event, and Wang Chen, a member of the Political Bureau of the CPC Central Committee and the Vice Chairman of the Standing Committee of National People's Congress, will give their remarks. Thousands of people will sing the national anthem before observing a minute of silence to pay tribute to the victims. An ode to peace will be recited as well, and the bell of peace will be rung.
Now we are beginning the national memorial service for the Nanjing Massacre. Please rise to the national anthem of People's Republic of China.
向南京大屠杀死难者默哀。
Pay silence in remembrance of the victims of the Nanjing Massacre.
默哀毕。向南京大屠杀死难者敬献花圈。
Now the guards will lay wreaths for the victims of the Nanjing Massacre.
wreaths are being laid to commemorate the people who were killed in Nanjing. Let's continue to get some insight on this part of history and also the importance of commemorating that part of history with Professor Rong Ying from China Institute of International Studies. I want to mention three numbers at this occasion: 300,000, 81, less than 100. 300,000 people were killed. That's a huge scar in China's history. But 81 years have passed, and less than 100 people of the Nanjing Massacre survivors still alive. Are we facing the threat of that huge scar, that part of history, fading from our memory?
Yeah, it is true. I think as the survivors being passing away, and there's a danger that our memory might be fading as well. So I think that's what we believe. It's really significant and important to have this event, have this ceremony in a way that now we are witnessing. And the most important thing, of course, as we know that there are particularly Japanese writers, Japanese some of the Japanese who continued deny whatever was mean, whatever they, and to try to
let's go over to the scientists to listen to Wang Chen, the political vice chairman of Standing Committee of the National People's Congress.
The vice chairman of the CPPCC of the Communist Party of China, Mr. Wang Chen, the floor is yours. My fellow countrymen, comrades, friends, today we gather here for the solemn occasion for the National Memorial Service for the Nanjing Massacre victims in commemoration of those who lost their lives in the Nanjing Massacre to the Japanese troops. Also, those who fought their lives for the Chinese Revolution, and those national heroes. Also, in commemoration of those who fought against the Japanese militarists, and to those international friends who helped the Chinese people fight along the way, and those peace-loving people and who, for your attitude towards peace and your commitment and aspiration for peace and development. 81 years ago, the Japanese troops committed tragedy in Nanjing Massacre. It was a cold winter. 300,000 lives were lost. Millions of women and children were trampled and raped. The Nanjing Massacre, Ms. Xia Shuqing and another 10 survivors of the Nanjing Massacre are here with us today. The Japanese troops invaded the home of Ms. Xia Shuqing and taken the lives of her 7 family members. And that atrocity was recorded by an international journalist. The tragedy was kept in memory. That is a living evidence for the atrocity of the Japanese troops and Japanese aggression. It is a dark page in the human civilization. During the Nanjing Massacre, during these dark days, Mr. Zhang Rabi and other righteous international friends risked their lives to protect and help the civilians of the Nanjing against the aggression of the Japanese troops. They offered humanitarian aid to the Chinese people, and they have written a chapter of humanitarian spirit in the international community, and this will be forever engraved. In this solemn occasion, we are remembering the victims and heroes at the crucial moment of survival and death of the Chinese nation. The Communist Party of China rise up to the call of the time and fought against the aggression of the Japanese troops and saved the Chinese nation with solemnity and led to the victory of Chinese war of resistance against the Japanese aggression and contributed heavily to the fascist war. During this solemn occasion, the world, after the victory of the fascist war, the Japanese troops committed this atrocity and inhumane deeds, which rose depression from outcry from the international community, and this will be forever engraved on the tripod of history. In this solemn occasion, we are remembering the victims and the heroes, that peace is a forever aspiration of humanity. Peace and development is the theme of the times. It is also responding to the call of the times. And war is a mirror. It reminds us of the preciousness of peace. The Chinese nation loves peace, and the Chinese people are fully aware that peace is so precious. We are committed to the peace development path, and we will protect the world of peace and contribute to global development and protect the international order. In this solemn occasion, we are mourning the victims after the founding of the People's Republic of China, especially since the opening reform and the opening up drive. Under the leadership of CPC, the Chinese people has written a new chapter of development. After the 18th CPC committee, under the new leadership centered by President Xi Jinping, we have made unprecedented achievements in the national drive and development. We have drawn a new blueprint for our national development, and we will stay committed to the new leadership centering on President Xi Jinping, and we will fully implement the national policies of the Chinese Communist Party, and we will stay committed to reform and opening up. We are confident that we will embrace an even brighter future. The past offers lessons for us to remember, and this year marks the 40th anniversary of the signing of China-Japan Friendly Agreement. Over the past 40 years, due to the concerted efforts of Chinese and Japanese people, the truth of the Japanese massacre, Nanjing Massacre, was revealed and the justice was done. And this tests that a stable China-Japanese friendly relations fits the interests of both China and the world. And we both countries need to work together in our interests and face the reality and work towards the future. We should work together in the spirit of friendliness and cooperation and make even stronger cooperation to the development of human civilization. Ladies and gentlemen, dear comrades, my fellow countrymen, today we are remembering the victims and to tell the world, after years of efforts, the Chinese socialism with Chinese characteristics has entered a new era. We will be more united under the leadership centering on President Xi Jinping. We will be guided by the spirits and guidelines of the socialism with Chinese characteristics. We will try to realize the Chinese dream. We will fight hard for the realization of Chinese dream. And China will work together with the people of the world to build a shared future a community of shared future for humanity, and we will embrace a brighter future for humanity. Thank you.
All right, you're now watching our special coverage on the Memorial Day, National Memorial Day event being held at the Memorial Hall of the victims of the Nanjing Massacre.
南京市青少年代表
Now,
宣读
let's welcome
和平
the
宣言。
representatives of middle school students in Nanjing to recite the Ode to Peace.
巍巍金陵，
The Yangtze River runs through the city of Nanking. The flowers of Zhongshan Mountain are forever blossoming. In 1937,
从天降
1213，古城沦丧，侵华日寇，掳掠烧杀，尸横遍野，血
Let us
染
be listening to the children reciting the memorial words for the Nanjing Massacre. Let's continue to talk to Professor Rong Ying about the importance of this event, this National Memorial Day. We were talking about as the survivors and also the victims of the Nanjing Massacre are losing, and also do you think the history of that huge scar in China is also fading?
I don't think so. As I said, and as we all know, that since the establishment of this National Memorial Day, we have seen that the growing sense and efforts to memorize, to remember that past history, but and also more equally important is an effort to make China's sort of efforts, particularly in the context of China's rising and developing to safeguard peace and human dignity. I think it's very much very impressed by the speech by Wang Chen, and that this is indeed 80 years ago. It was the darkest
81
years ago, the darkest day, and it was also, I think, a solemn time to commemorate, to mourn the victims, but also, I think, to remember the martyrs, the national heroes that have been sacrificed, that given up their life, precious life, for the victory, for the triumph of China's anti-Japanese war, and making contribution to the international peace by playing an important role for world anti-fascism war. So this is also I think.
So this event actually is having double meanings.
Indeed.
One is to remember the past, and one is to look forward in the future. Yes, indeed. In Wang Chen's speech just now, he not only remembered, even in specific, how one particular victim's family has been killed, or 7 of the family members have been killed, and he also looks forward on how China should be building itself much stronger, and also reaffirmed China's stance position in the world to continue making efforts to world peace indeed. So the bell actually is not only a remembrance of the past, also it is an alarm for the future as well. It also has double meanings. Well, as for the Nanjing Massacre, actually, World War II is commemorated across the world in the international community.
Keep memory, but here again we will thank to the international these friends, and I think Wang Chen's speech also particularly mentioned that he would like to thank the international, like Mr. John Rabe and others. They have risked their life. They had to risk their life to maintain the documents and the evidence. It is also partly because the Japanese, these right wings, and they have kept on denying and whitewashing the fact by challenging the facts, challenging the numbers, and so on and so forth. So I think now this has been changed. It's changing to the fact that more and more evidence has been reviewed, as we just learned, and the international community has become, again, also been known to the fact. And back in 2015, the UNESCO has already decided to put the archive, Nanjing Massacre, in the list of the so-called the Memory of World Register. This is a major despite the opposition of the Japanese government. This is a major development that helps the international community to know about this.
Hope to see more of those kind of developments as well in the future. Thank you very much, Professor Rong Ying, Vice President of the China Institute of International Studies. And from the Japanese perspective, we're now joined on Skype by Professor Takesato Watanabe, a professor from Doshisha University from Japan. Hello there, Professor. Well, first of all, it's been 81 years, and the Japanese government has actually never admitted its crime of killing over 300,000 Chinese people in the incident. It is quite hurtful for the families of the victims. What's your opinion on this?
There are two, aspects to tell. First one is history. It is really, really true that Nanjing Massacre happened and victims, were more than 300,000. First, Japanese people and government itself must, admit these facts. On the recognition of these facts, the starting point would be, seen here in Japan, and also between the two countries' relations. First, the people came to know actually by and by, recently, gradually, from gradually to rapidly recognizing those facts. So people are pressing the government to admit it. Along the way of this line, Prime Minister Abe, who has not recognized the facts, did not go to Yasukuni Shrine this year. So I don't know, the government itself, led by Mr. Abe, recognizes the facts, but they are very keenly concerned with the relations of economic development with China and Chinese people. And also they came to realize how important the position of China and Chinese people in the world peace, in the world economic order, and also further development of Asian countries. Japan and China should go hand in hand in many ways because we are neighboring countries. Of course, Korea was, you see, victimized by Japan. So Korea, China, Japan, if possible, as much as possible, we should go hand in hand. This is my idea, and also mainstream media of Japan are talking like that. So I am personally very happy to know the movement, positive movement from also China. And Japan should, you see, respond to the cause from Chinese side. And Japanese people are already okay. The government is a little problem, but we can press the government to go forward to see the rosy future between China and Japan, Chinese and Japanese. This is my idea and I hope.
All right, thank you very much indeed, Professor Takesato Watanabe, professor from Doshisha University in Japan. Thank you very much for your insight. All right, you're now watching the day, and we finished our special coverage of the National Memorial Day in China, remembering the Nanjing Massacre happened 81 years ago. Well, 20 more witnesses of the Nanjing Massacre have passed away this year. 8 representatives of the of the victims attended this year's commemorating activity just now. Registered survivors are now less than 100, and that's a fact. While the light of their lives extinguished, the scars still remain, and the history shall long be remembered. All right, with that, we come to the end